class. It is 4:04 and I'm going to start this meeting. And I will be recording this meeting for those of you who could not attend today's question and answer session. I'm hoping by now that you did watch the orientation to the class video because it gives you a good overview of this class and what is expected. This class is meant to build on your med-surg concepts from your clinical and theory class on ground and help you become a better critical thinker and think of yourself now as not the student, but now I'm the nurse. So you will see that in the discussions, I am going to ask you questions that will make you think like the nurse. What would you do in that situation? Please take the time in the discussions to go through comments I make, questions I make, because the purpose is to help you grow in your knowledge and help you prepare for the NCLEX and become a good critical thinker, which is very important in nursing. So basically, this is a question and answer session, and I do not believe there's any participants, so there will be no questions and answers. Just a few reminders for this first week. The math quiz, if you are doing drop factor and administering an IV, it may not tell you to round to the nearest tenth, but if you think about it, you can only give whole drops. So in that situation, please round to the nearest tenth. If there's directions that say round to the nearest tenth, then you do need to do that in order to get the correct answer. I will go through each person's math quiz on Monday morning and give you credit for those answers that the computer marked wrong. So please be aware of that. The other thing I was planning on doing tonight was going through your first assignment, which is in Module 3. So we will scroll down to Module 3. And here is the assignment. It is very important that you do not confuse this assignment with the one that you just did in NUR 312. That was looking at healthy living styles in the community where you live. This is assessing a community for availability of complex care units such as intensive care, burn units, cardiac care, anything that would be a specialty. This is worth 125 points. And again, it is a paper. The format is pretty much the same as NUR 312. You have an introduction and then a description, technology, what's not available, barriers, public awareness, and summary, and I will go through each one of those. The paper is 3 to 5 pages in length, and remember to include a title and reference page, and please remember to go back and format it in 7th edition, which can be found on your Pages tab, and how to do that. Remember, in 7th edition, we do not use retrieved from anymore. You just put the URL or the DOI, and there is a different format for the title page. And I do see this as 6th edition, and I will be changing that to 7th edition as soon as I am done with this discussion. So to write this paper, you're going to pick a community or area. A community is usually the best. Many people pick where they live, but you could also choose a place where you might want to live, where your parents might live, someplace you're interested in. Definitely stick to a community, not anything larger, because it gets hard to meet the criteria if you go too big. So you're picking an area where you live and include that information, include the population and general demographics. Demographics are things like cultural diversity, white collar workers, blue collar workers, that type of information that sort of describes the community you are looking at. Then you're going to look at what in that community has complex care units. If you're doing a large city like Salt Lake City, they pretty much have everything in that area. However, if you're doing a smaller city further away, they may not have a CCU, an ICU, a NICU, a PICU, a burn unit, or any of these. They might only have an ICU. So what you're doing is just as if you were assessing a patient, you're assessing this area and trying to determine what is available. If you do not work at that area or go to that area, then you can also use the internet to obtain that information. So you're trying to decide, I live in this area, where can I go if I need complex care? And describe what you find. Then also in this area, what is the level of technology? Is it current, advanced, or outdated? And please provide at least one example. So if you have an area that does have an ICU, maybe they use the method where the doctors are on the televisions in each of the rooms. And so that is how they're getting their information from a larger unit. They might use robotics. Is their electronic health records updated? Anything related to technology and what you've learned, but then also provide an example. Please do not just put, yes, their technology is current. You need to back it up with why it is or why it isn't. Then your next area is what isn't available and how do you get to these units if it's in another area. Would you have to take a helicopter, a plane, ambulance? How would you get there if you needed complex health care? What are some of the barriers to accessing specific complex or critical care facilities? What obstacles might inhibit transition? Now, it could be distance, but it could also be financial, language. So looking at your area, what are the barriers to get to these critical care areas? Then again, going back to your area, how is the public made aware of the available resources that you have in your area and how to get to the complex care facilities? And then finally, you're going to summarize your paper and then remember to include both the positive and negatives. When you are looking at a rubric, you want to make sure you're answering all the questions, and that's how you get the points. The paper should be 3 to 5 pages in length, excluding the title and reference page. Make sure your references are within 5 years. I strongly suggest you use at least level 1 headings, and then you divide each one of these up into a section or a heading, and that way you know you've covered everything in the paper. And remember the 80-20 rules apply, so you don't want too many quotes. So again, looking at this rubric, you want to make sure that you are covering everything that's listed in this area here. Answer all those questions in each of your sections. And that basically is how you would do it. I will include this video and I will also include an example of a paper that has been done. Please do not use that paper or format that paper because your Turnitin score will come up high and you don't want that to happen. So basically that is your assignment for Module 3. And then you do have another assignment later on in Module 6, which is a PowerPoint, and I will put information about that closer to the time that you would be doing that assignment. And let me just check one other thing here. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I try to answer your emails as fast as I can, and if not within 24 hours. Also, please feel free to put questions in questions to the instructor. That way everyone knows your question and may have that same question also. Again, welcome to the class. I think you'll find this class a great addition to your nursing education, and I look forward to meeting everyone online.